Hey friends, I wanted to take a moment to tell you about my new book, Negotiation Made Simple. For the past 20 years, I have helped business people put together important deals, lawyers settle big lawsuits, small business owners grow their business by getting the most value for their product possible. And through this, I've learned a process on how to use negotiation to deliver outstanding deals. This particular book is those 20 years and everything I've learned about negotiation that's packaged in a very practical guide for solving problems, building relationships, and delivering the next deal. I hope you will jump in, buy this book, read this book, put it to work, and in doing so, you will be equipped to get better negotiation outcomes and to get what you want, not only in business, but in life as well. Go purchase Negotiation Made Simple wherever you buy books and use 2024 as an opportunity to take your next step in your negotiation success. Welcome to Negotiation Made Simple, where we help you master the art of negotiation and win the next deal. I'm your host, John Lowry. One of the things that people constantly ask me is how AI will impact negotiation and whether AI will make negotiation go away. Well, the answer to the second question is absolutely not. Negotiation will continue to stay with us. But the answer to number one is yes. AI will impact negotiation. And on this episode, I want to talk you through how I am using AI and how AI is helping me as a negotiator deliver the outcomes that I need to deliver for myself, my company, and my clients. I think AI is an incredible partner, and in this episode, I will give you 3 ways that you can use AI as a partner that I think will help you deliver better outcomes in your negotiations. Let's jump into the episode. One of the transformations that's occurring in the field of negotiation right now is the application of AI to negotiation. And it's interesting to me as I talk to people, negotiation experts, leaders, some of the key negotiators that are representing companies and working for law firms and so forth, about how it is that they're using negotiation. And the answers that I get are all over the board. There are some people that are like, absolutely not. I'm not touching that. I don't know what that is. I don't trust it. They don't want anything to do with AI at all. And then there are some people, and this is where I think most people fall into, to where they're beginning to dabble in it. And they use it for something really small, or they have somebody else use it and they just take the results of it and then process those. And so they're just kind of dabbling in it. And then there are others that are really inquisitive and want to explore what AI could do. And those folks, I don't find there are many of them, but it really is interesting to see what they are learning. And so pretty typical of any transformational technology, you've kind of got the trailblazers, then you got the folks that will just dip their toe in it, and then you'll have the late adopters to where it will really have to establish itself and prove itself before they will even consider it. And so what I wanted to do on this episode, no matter where you are on that spectrum, as you think about how to use AI to enhance your negotiations, what I want to do is just share with you my experience and how I've used AI, hopefully to become a better negotiator and to generate better negotiation outcomes. And hopefully from that, you'll be able to perhaps be encouraged to try something as it relates to the application of AI. Maybe it's something to where you'll take it a different direction. What I also hope is that you'll also see that there are ways to use AI without having to disclose any proprietary information, any client information, anything that you don't want out there. There are ways to where AI can bring a tremendous amount of value without creating any risk of sharing information or people getting information that you don't want them to have. And so as I think about AI as a partner. AI is not the solution. I don't think AI is ever going to replace humans in the field of negotiation, but I do think that AI is going to be a tremendous partner for people. And those that choose to engage the partner are those that are going to benefit most. And the people that shun the partner or don't want anything to do with the partner, they're not going to see the benefit. And my theory is that they will eventually see themselves perhaps falling behind. And so, in my experience so far, as I have dabbled in AI and used it in a variety of ways to enhance my negotiations and my negotiation preparation, there are three areas to where AI has been, I think, an incredible partner, and I would say has outperformed my expectations in terms of what AI could do in terms of helping me get ready or execute a successful negotiation. And so I want to talk about those three ways that AI can become a partner. First, AI is a great data partner. And let's start here. This is where I think traditionally AI has been used. And so we'll spend some time thinking about how AI can be a data partner for us. Secondly, AI is a great thought partner. And I want to spend some time thinking with you about how I use AI to actually help develop the process of negotiation. And then finally, this is the piece that where I am headed next in terms of the use of AI. And this is the piece that I'm excited about, but I don't have total mastery of yet, and I think is still being developed. And that is AI as a behavioral partner. Okay, so let's jump back and talk about AI as a data partner. As you've heard me say, negotiation has two aspects. It has the substance, and then it also has the process. The substance asks the question, what is the right answer? The process asks the question, how do I get others to the right answer? And so where I think AI has originally made its impact on negotiation is helping people come up with the right answer. And this is where I've seen AI leveraged really, really effectively. And that is to gather information and intelligence on people, on markets, on deals, on backgrounds, on all these kind of different things. AI is a great tool to be able to generate information quickly and very relevant information quickly about the people that you might be doing business with or the people that are your counterparts in a particular negotiation. And so I've leveraged AI to gather info on people themselves. That's actually a really scary thing. And if you just put your name in and ask kind of put your name in there, pop that into ChatGPT or Claude or whatever generative AI platform that you use, it's kind of scary what comes back. It's scary from the standpoint of you don't know if it's going to be positive or negative. Thankfully, it's almost always positive. But it's also scary to just realize how much information that AI can generate about you and how much it actually knows about you. And so AI is pulling from all these different sources, and it's amazing from those different sources, the profile that AI can create on you. The opportunity is AI can create a pretty good profile on other people as well. And so it's a great way to really learn about someone and an excellent tool to use if you're going into a meeting with that person, if you're making a proposal to that person, if you're trying to resolve a conflict with that person. Knowing a little bit of their background can be useful, and AI is a great tool for that. The same is true for companies. And so AI can generate really powerful information about companies, about their history, about where they stand currently. All of these different things AI can help us with in terms of gathering information on a particular company as well. It also does this for markets, for competitors, but then you can even go further than that. And you can tap AI into perhaps getting an understanding of pricing. And so if you're trying to price a deal, trying to get a sense of what the value is in the marketplace, AI can provide some input on that. Now, I wouldn't trust it 100%. I'd test it for sure, but it can, and I found it can give a pretty good sense in terms of a range of what services cost or how much people are paying for this product or this service in a particular market. And AI can be useful in terms of just getting a directional sense of kind of where things are headed so that you could be consistent with that or try to beat that, whatever it is that you're wanting to do. And so where I used AI effectively is I was having lunch with someone whose company is going through a bit of a public kind of scandal. And what I wanted to know, because I knew that this issue would come up during our lunch, I wanted to know kind of the latest on it. And so I just popped that in and asked AI and really asked for kind of the latest developments, the latest news. Like I got specific like that because I didn't need just the full background. I already knew that. What I needed was the latest. And what AI generated was really powerful in terms of within the last week, identifying some of the developments, some of the articles, some of the stuff that's out there around this particular scandal in terms of what's going on. And as a result of that, I was able to walk into that lunch. And from a coaching standpoint, I was able to move into that realm very, very quickly, having known kind of the latest. Now, I certainly confirmed it with my friend and said, this is kind of my understanding of where you're at. And he was like, absolutely, that's what we're dealing with. I mean, AI had it right, but I wanted to confirm it. I didn't want to just trust it blindly. But once I had it confirmed, we were ready to quickly move the conversation into thinking about solutions or thinking about a path forward or thinking about, how to move out of this scandal. And so it was a tremendous tool to just get me prepared for that lunch and to help me be a better coach to my friend who was looking for a little advice in terms of how to handle this very difficult situation. So AI can be a great tool for you as a data partner. And I encourage you to use AI as you think about the substance of your negotiations, because AI can help you get to the right answer. And then it can give you a lot of information that will help you get someone else to the right answer. Okay, this is the piece that is the most interesting and providing the most value to me right now. And that is AI as a thought partner. And so I engage AI just in developing my strategy, developing my approach to every single negotiation. And I'll go in there and I will give AI as much detail as I can, obviously without disclosing any information that would be proprietary or confidential or privileged or anything like that. I never put that information in. But I will give AI a generic description of the negotiation. And I won't use any company names. I won't use any people's names. I will just give a generic description. And then I'll simply ask like a very open-ended question about how would you approach this negotiation? Or I would say, here's what I'm trying to achieve. What advice do you have for me in terms of achieving this outcome? And it's fascinating to me what AI will come up with. I would say that there's probably about 20 to 25% of it that is just irrelevant. It just misses the mark in terms of the context of the negotiation. And then I would say that there's probably another 70 to 75% that I've already thought of just based on my experience. And then what I find, though, that's really interesting is there's about 10 to 15% of what AI generates that is something that is new and interesting to me in terms of a thought or an idea or an approach. And there's something always that's kind of novel in terms of if I do enough searches and if I do enough prompts, that AI will come up with something that I hadn't thought of before that will add value in terms of my thought process. And so the way that I use AI as a thought partner actually differs. And so one of the things I do is I will ask AI for just providing some input on the process that I should pursue. And this really has to do with the communication, the timing of things, all of that. AI will provide some insight. And so many times in my negotiations in the legal world, there is questions about how are we going to get this mediation convened? And we don't want to look desperate, but at the same time, we'd like to get the case resolved. And so what is the best way to approach the plaintiff's attorney without looking desperate to settle as far as trying to get a mediation pulled together so we can get the case resolved? And AI provides some very interesting feedback in terms of, how to do that. And so I'll use AI as that kind of thought partner. And then what I'll also do is I will ask AI to ask me questions about my preparation or my position. And so instead of asking AI the question, I will ask AI to ask me questions. And as a result of that, AI will come back. And again, there's a lot of questions that are just kind of irrelevant and off base. Then there are a lot of questions that are like, check, thought of that, thank you. And then there may be, again, one or two questions that I realize I hadn't really thought that through enough, or that was a new issue that I hadn't thought about before. And as a result of that, it'll send me off into thinking about that, and that will help me in terms of my preparation. What I'll also do is I'll ask AI to, critique my position or to tell me where the weaknesses are in my position. And again, this is all generic, but if I can get specific with it, it will give me some really, really good feedback in terms of saying a negotiation counterpart, may try to exploit this weakness in your position. And it will give me a heads up on that can be really, really powerful. Now, it doesn't always do it on the first prompt. Sometimes it takes 3 or 4 or 5 prompts to really get AI to focus on the issues that I want to focus. But if you just keep asking the questions and you do it a different way and you ask it to elaborate on things, then AI will eventually get to the place, at least I found, to where it has something of value to offer. The other thing I'll do that's kind of fun is I will ask AI to mimic my counterpart or respond as if it was my counterpart to my arguments or positions. And so I'll have to give it some context in terms of the negotiation. I'll tell it what the other side wants to achieve and what we want to achieve. And then I'll say, if I start here and this is my opening offer, what will their response be? And AI will literally mimic the other side. Now, sometimes that gets off base, but sometimes I think it's pretty good. And that helps me prepare for the next move and be one step ahead of who it is that I'm negotiating with. And so if, for instance, we're trying to close a deal with a client, I'll ask AI, what would be the objections to doing this deal if you were my client and you are trying to achieve this for your company? And AI will say, they might be more interested in learning about your credibility in this particular space, or they may want to see more differentiation here between some of your competitors. And so in doing that, that helps me in terms of prepare my presentation. It helps me in terms of the messaging and how it is that I position myself or the management consulting firm that I founded or whatever the case might be. And so asking AI to mimic your counterpart and to respond to your arguments and your positions can be a very useful exercise and provide you with lots of insights, but provides you them at a time where you can adjust before you ever have the real conversation. And you can make your presentation stronger before you ever get in the room. And by doing so, you can anticipate the challenging stuff and hopefully be ready to overcome it when the time comes. One of the ways in which I've seen this used really well is I was having a conversation with a CEO who talked about doing a major policy change at his company. And he knew there would be resistance to this because for some people, it would impact them financially. And he knew that some folks wouldn't like it, but other folks would understand the need to do it. And he was getting ready to work through the process of working with his executive team to announce this new change, to try to figure out how to get buy-in to this new change, and then obviously to deal with the negative ramifications that may come and some of the people that may get upset as a result of it. And so he just asked AI. and said, what will be the objections? How should I respond to those objections? And here you had a CEO that was using AI as a thought partner in terms of how to execute a major policy change at his company. And he said it was the greatest coach I could have ever had because AI was just on the fly able to think from the different perspectives of the different stakeholders in this particular change. And that would have taken me significantly more time to interview people with that perspective. And it wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good. But pretty good was all he needed in terms of developing a strategy to where he was able to lead his company through that change with success. And so AI is an outstanding thought partner. And I would encourage you just to engage it. Go to ChatGPT, go to Claude, whatever platform that you want to use. There's lots of free versions. And then if you want to, you can pay for more elaborate versions. And I think it's well worth it. But the free versions are pretty good. And I often access those. And just ask it these questions and see what it comes up with. And if it's not of value, then ask another question or move on. But I think what you'll find is that oftentimes it's going to produce something of value. Okay, so that's what I'm doing now. Now let me give you a sense of what I'm going to do next. And I am just getting into this. I have not gone down this road, but I want to give you a sense of at least where I'm headed as a negotiator in terms of how I'm going to apply AI going forward. I'm already doing a little bit of it through using AI as a thought partner, as I've just kind of described, but AI is coming up with tools now that are even more powerful in terms of AI becoming a behavioral partner. Not only in terms of trying to understand some of my biases and my behaviors and how those impact the negotiation process, but then also understanding other people's behaviors and other people's biases and getting to a place to where I can predict those. I can predict how they might feel or what they might say or how they might react. And so I was interested, I was partially involved in another conversation to where a particular real estate developer was going to approach the mayor and other city leaders about a real estate development project. And a team of engineers had come together, a team of developers had come together, some finance folks, and here was their moment where they were going to have the big meeting with the mayor and the city manager and the city engineer and so forth. And in that meeting, they were going to present their plans for this development. And so what they did in advance that I thought was so brilliant was they just went to AI and they started asking the questions. They put some of the details of their development in, again, without putting any information out there that they shouldn't, but they gave a sense of that development. They did go, in fact, and put the city in and put the area of the city and exactly where this development was going. And then they ask AI to generate questions that the city leaders would ask. And in doing so, some of those questions they were ready for. A few of those questions they wanted to get more ready for. And so they did that. And then when they got to the meeting, they had much more success. And the meeting was far more productive because they had a sense of what the objections or what the concerns or what the reactions would be by the mayor and the staff of the city. And what they found through their experience was there was 8 questions that they anticipated, and the people in the meeting asked 7 of the 8 questions. Pretty good. And because they went through this process of engaging AI prior to the meeting, they were ready for 7 of the 8 questions. And the 8 questions that they prepared for, it was not a waste of time because 7 of those questions got asked. And so I think that's an incredible story to illustrate how AI now is becoming predictive in terms of human behavior and human thinking and how people will react to things. Now, this is by no means perfected, but there are steps that are being taken that I think we have to pay attention to because it's adding value and it's showing that it works. And so here are a couple of things that I'm excited about experimenting with. And I'll report back in a future episode about what this experience is. And it may go great, it may not, and whatever happens, happens, and I'll report back to you all. But here's the things that I'm going to start playing with, and I would encourage you to start playing with as well. So number one, there are new AI tools coming out there for what's called natural language processing. I'm still learning exactly what this is, but the skinny of it is these are tools that help people assess tone, level of interest, and emotions in communication. And so what AI will do is it will take an email, and again, you got to be careful with some of this because there may be content in emails that you don't want to put into a particular AI platform or tool. But it will take an email, and you might have to cleanse that email of any of the proprietary data. But it will literally take the words and analyze the words to try to then give you a sense of the tone and of the thinking behind the words. And I'm interested to see how accurate it is, but that's pretty powerful if it can give you a sense of someone's level of interest in your product or service just based upon their response to your email or your invitation or your request for a meeting or whatever the case might be. And so I'm excited about how AI is going to use some of this natural language. There are other tools being developed to where AI will participate in a Zoom call and will literally read people's body language and their communication tones and things like that. And then we'll give you a report back in terms of how people were feeling and thinking and reacting as part of that meeting. Now, I've already, in my own mind, kind of raised the ethical issue of, is there an obligation to inform people that you're using this AI tool? And I think that's a really interesting question to ask and something that you'll have to deal with in terms of thinking about your own kind of ethical paradigm. What I can tell you, though, is the tools are being built and the tools are being used to where this kind of analysis of a meeting is happening, to where AI is giving people a sense of its understanding of how people feel based upon what they say or what they do or how they look in the course of a meeting. So really interesting stuff in terms of this natural language processing. And then there's also some other tools that are being developed to where AI will watch you. And this is something that I think you can move forward with without as many ethical considerations. But AI will watch a speech, or AI will watch a presentation, or AI will watch you or read your emails before you send them. And AI will help assess your communication style. And AI will provide criticisms. AI will provide suggestions. AI will provide areas where it thinks you're really strong. And then it'll also break it down to where, it will help you think about word choice, depending upon who your audience is. And so there's some incredible tools where AI is actually doing this level of analysis to help you contextualize your message to your audience and to help you do some really interesting thinking on how to do it. And then the last piece that I think is really interesting is, AI is getting to a place to where it can provide kind of real-time feedback to this. And so again, this goes back into thinking carefully and ethically about, what you want to expose AI to. But there is the capability now to where it'll give you some response in real time to where you can have a meeting with someone or you can have a communication exchange with someone, and AI right then and right there will say, here's how AI thought it went. And here was the strong moments, here was the weak moments, here are the concerns, here are the positives to build on, and all of that. And so I'm interested in terms of what these tools can actually produce. I haven't proven them out yet, so I'm not necessarily recommending them, but I am interested and I am intrigued in terms of where AI can help people in terms of this behavioral analysis. And as I say that, I'm also very cautious and understand that some of this, I think, creates some real ethical dilemmas that we have to think through and have to be careful about. And so I'm struggling with that as well. And I think it's important that, before you go charge down the road in terms of using some of these tools, you make sure that the information that you're capturing in an AI tool is appropriate information. And you make sure that you don't create a relational problem if someone were to know that you were analyzing them using kind of an AI tool. I think it's an interesting question that all of us are going to have to process in terms of, what's appropriate there and what isn't. But the tools exist, and as appropriate, I think we should use the tools and test the tools and try the tools and see if they prove themselves out. I may be back to you in 90 days and say, these don't work at all. AI is totally off here and this doesn't make any sense. However, I think I may be back in 90 days with some of the same answers that I've given you in terms of AI being a thought partner, in terms of saying it's not perfect, but there's some value to it, and it's value worth paying attention, and it's value that can make you a better negotiator. So just to recap, 3 areas to where AI can be a great partner for you. 1, in the area of data, a data partner. 2 is as a thought partner in terms of helping you design and think through and execute process. And then lastly, in terms of what I think is to come, and that is AI as a behavioral partner. Don't be afraid of AI. Play with it, experiment with it, take it at your own pace. But I would encourage you to get started. Do something this week in terms of engaging AI and applying AI to your negotiations. And if you do so, I'm confident that you will find ways to where AI will make you a more successful and a much better negotiator. Thank you for listening to this episode of Negotiation Made Simple. Before I leave, I want to make you aware of a special offer on Amazon. The book, Negotiation Made Simple, that was published last year by HarperCollins that I authored, is 50% off. And so I would encourage you to go to Amazon, pick up your copy of Negotiation Made Simple. It will make a difference in helping you achieve what you want to achieve, not only in business, but in life. Thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Negotiation Made Simple.